right, we are ready for our last two leg exercises, numbers 5 and 6. The first one that we're going to do, again, may look very reminiscent of a fitness exercise, but we do it a little bit differently than they would do it in a fitness class. So I'll just show you, and I'm going to also show you how we're going to sit up a little bit higher using our roll. In fitness, often you would see this, and people would raise their leg with their legs parallel here, and not too worried about the back. Often you'll see people a little bit like this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do the same exercise. We're gonna unroll our towel, and then we're gonna fold it. I like to fold mine 4 times. That's gonna allow me to sit up a little bit above my legs, so my legs are out and down below me. We're gonna turn the legs out and relax the feet. Now, as you can see, this allows me, get a little more sideways, to really have my back nice and straight. You can also press your hands down in order to keep the back straight. But when you press, make sure that you don't press and lift your shoulders. You wanna keep those down. We're turning the legs out for this exercise because we're going to work on that nice extension to the front that we want to have turned out, not turned in. So we're going to lift with the inner thigh. We just worked that inner thigh as the secondary leg in the previous exercise. We're going to use those same muscles, trying not to overuse our quads, but use the inner thigh, smaller muscles, to lift the leg. So we lift, 2, 3, and down. And you'll know that you're using your correct muscles, the inner thigh muscles, if you watch your foot. That foot should stay turned out the whole way up. It doesn't have to be pointed and down. So what you don't want to see is as you lift, your foot is turning in. That means you're primarily using these larger quadriceps muscles, and we want to use these smaller ones. So again, we're sitting tall. You can have your hands here, or you can hold them out if you're ready for that. And we lift, 2, 3, and down. The other thing we really want to watch is that we're not rounding the back in order to lift, but we're really keeping the back nice and long. As we lift, I'm going to do the other leg. Lift, 2, 3, and down. Lift, 2, 3, and down. Another thing you can do that will help keep that back flat is you can sit against a wall, but make sure you are sitting up on something a little bit, because we already have our legs here almost at 90 degrees. Most of us have an extension to the front of about 90 degrees. So if we start at 90 degrees, then it's really hard to get much lift. So I like sitting up on something a little bit in order to get the lift. So we're going to do 6 of those on the right, and then 6 of those on the left, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do quick ones. So that looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll do 8 of those, and then we'll go to the other side. Sometimes if I haven't been working out a lot, because this works some very small muscles, I get cramps. And so if you happen to get a cramp, right away go into the stretch I'm going to show you. Don't try to keep lifting if you start to get any kind of cramp. That just means your muscle is tired and working hard. So because I have very bony feet, I like to put my mat under my foot for this stretch, but you may not need to do that. And then we're just going, you can stretch here and just hold yourself. For me, that's enough. But some people like to go all the way down, and you can also do that if that feels okay for you, and we'll stretch that way. And then we'll come out of that, and we'll do the other side stretch. If going all the way to the floor makes your knee hurt at all, just stay up this way. You can get a nice stretch this way as well. And then we will do our very last exercise. And this is the only one that we actually do from being on our feet. We hang over. Many of you may have done this with me before if I taught your class at one point. I really love this exercise because it works the hamstrings, and so often as dancers, we're very quadriceps strong and hamstring weak, and we need the hamstrings to protect our hips and to help our alignment of the pelvis. Very important in this exercise to keep the back relaxed. I like to sometimes just let my head wiggle up and down in order to make sure I'm relaxed. And then all we're gonna do, keeping the back heavy like that, is we're gonna start to roll up, but we're gonna leave the back heavy. You might feel a stretch in your lower back, that's great if you do. And you wanna roll up until your hips, right here, are right in line with your legs. Not back here, not broken, but all the way under. Once you get there, you just roll back down. And we start in parallel first with the feet, just a couple inches apart, rolling up, and then rolling down. Now when we do the whole series, I'm going to do 6 of them in first. At the end of the 6th one, I'm going to say open to second, and we'll go over. Then we're going to do 6 here. Then tempos 1, 2, and down 3, 4. We'll say this is the 6th one. 1, 2. I'm going to say turn out and over for 4. Then we're going to add to it. So here we are, turned out. Really important, get those hips all the way in place here. Don't let them be back. And we're going to add a plie. Don't let the hips swing back. Keep the hips right where they are. Stretch the legs and go over. We're going to do just 2 in second with the hips forward, plie. Stretch, that's the second one. We're going to close and then we're going to go over, and then we're going to do 2 in first to finish. Once we do that, of course, we need to stretch the hamstring. If you want, you can do a split, but another slightly less intense stretch is to take one leg across the other, reach over, keep that foot flexed, keep the leg long, and then just lay the body over as far as you can on the leg to get a nice stretch. On all these stretches, you want to just really relax into the stretch. Take your time and breathe. And then we'll come up and we'll cross and we'll do the other side as well. And then one last stretch that we're going to do, because it's so important to keep the hips forward, is we're going to open our towel back out so it's a mat for the knees, and we're going to be right on here. And then I want you to step one foot out so that you can see the foot. So my foot isn't underneath the knee, it's way out in front, so that as we come forward, the knee ends up right over the toe. This stretch can be hard on your front knee if the knee goes out past the toe. You want to have a nice straight line here to support. And then you can just stretch there. You should feel a stretch in the front of that back hip. Try to keep that hip equal to the other one. If you don't feel a stretch and it helps you stretch, you can also put the hand down. But make sure that when you do this, you don't push back on the hip. We're always trying to drop the hip to the floor for our stretch. We'll stay there and let that hip really stretch forward. Then we'll walk ourselves back. We'll come back to the other